Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the meeting of the Anston Parish Council. Have we got any guest speakers tonight? No, man. Nobody here. Right. Number one, to allow questions relating to Anston Parish Council recreation ground, which will be related to the charity. Any questions on this parish you'd like us to pass on? No. To allow presentations regarding planning applications within the civil parish of Anston to be considered later in the meeting. To allow one question per elector of the civil parish of Anston on a topic for which the parish council has a responsibility or which affects the parish. Anybody like to give the names? Start there. Have you? Your question. Hillary.
This is Sandra, me.
Yeah, Hillary, you just.
Thank you.
What's your?
Mr. Chairman. The question is around the brief notes from the public session of the 17th of November. The first item. What do councillors know about child sexual exploitation? And then the answer that you put on here, which is totally wrong, total lie. Councillor St John explained that no details had been divulged at the 2004/2005 RMBC seminar. Borough councillors of the day had been told that the South Yorkshire Police were dealing with the problem.
Okay.
Right? Now that is totally wrong. Who writes this?
So what's you're asking?
Who
What's
writes?
the question that you're asking?
Well, I've been asking Councillor St John about what action he took after the now notorious 2005 seminar that was called to discuss child sexual exploitation. Jane Senior gave the address. It's referred to in Professor Jay's report, and nobody that attended that meeting could deny that they did not know about child sexual exploitation.
Right.
Nothing about South Yorkshire Police dealing with the problem.
Okay.
Nothing, just a minute.
Okay,
Nothing
you're wondering off the call. Hillary,
Hillary,
you're wondering off the question.
Councillor
Mrs.
St
Sanders, can I have your
John
question, please?
obfuscated.
Chairman, for that, Redley, you stopped me on that question as well.
Can we have your question now?
No, just a minute, I haven't finished.
But you're not asking.
Councillor St John obfuscated.
You're not asking a question, are you?
Well,
I'm
give us a chance.
just a minute.
You're not
Councillor
asking.
St John obfuscated each time of these pursuing Mr. Freeman. So I'm asking now, Councillor St. No good shaking your head. That's a difficult defence mechanism and it doesn't work. Councillor St John, I'm asking you again, what action did you take in respect of the children, the discussion was had about the children being abused? What actions did you take to address this?
Okay.
Chair,
Yeah.
the answer, hang on a moment, my turn.
No,
I'm
I'm just saying to Councillor
Let's get all the questions down first, then you answer.
All right, okay.
Mrs. Sadler, your question.
I have some costings about the Anston Parish newsletter,
Yeah.
and on this occasion also the survey. And
You want to ask a question about the costings that were printed on the.
yes, and I want to know whose brainchild it is, because I can't for the life of me see any justification for 99.9 of the questions on the survey, and I'd like to know who dreamed it up and which website they lifted it from, because it certainly has no connection at all to Anston.
Right, Mr. Have you got a question?
Sorry?
Have you got a question, Mr. Lewis?
Well, if you want one.
No, I don't really want one, but
Well, I'll give you one then. Venus Sean Wright has resigned shouldn't Councillor Burton resign, as she was a cabinet advisor to Sean Wright on the Children and Young People's Board during 2005, 2006, and was a guest member during 2007 and 2008.
Okay, well, Mr. Lewis, this is the third time you've asked this question.
Yeah, and each time you voted it, you have not answered it.
I think you'll get the same answer from councillors. Next one, yeah. Mrs. Waldhead.
You don't like answering questions. Time you resign.
Yeah.
Just on the presentation night that the children had last Friday,
Okay.
the skateboard park.
You just want to make a comment about it?
Yeah, I
Is
thought you might like to know about it.
Yeah, well,
nobody was here, only Ian St John and Clive, who is on the skateboard committee.
well, we'll take this later because they should have been, according to my Miles should have been here
Yes,
tonight.
God knows
So
what's
wait
happened.
till we've dealt with the question, then you can make a short statement about the thing. Okay.
Okay.
Kevin.
John, I'd like to know what precautions we've got in place regarding winter planning. Should this village be like it were a few years ago, when it actually came to a standstill, when Rotherham Borough Council withdrew the gritting services due to the fact that they couldn't get out? As we've got services, elderly people and things we need to keep moving in this village, what action is Parish Council willing to take on this matter?
Okay. Right, we'll deal with Mrs. Estrada Higgs first.
Thank you.
Would you like to answer this, please?
The answer I gave then is the answer I will give now, and I have nothing further to add.
Well, that's a disgrace. That is a disgrace. That you took no action to safeguard these children. You were at that seminar. It's now regarded as a notorious seminar. None of you did anything. You deny all knowledge, and it's a disgrace. It's an admission of disgraceful behaviour.
Mrs. Estrada Haig is very strong on opinion and very poor on facts. It was and I didn't interrupt her. It was a seminar for all elected members of the council, and there was a good turnout. There were questions, and at the end of it, I was much more knowledgeable about child sexual exploitation in Rotherham than I was before. But beyond that, I have nothing to add.
Well, that's another admission, Councillor St John. Before you said you knew nothing about it.
Quiet, please. All right, you've had your answer. You've had your answer.
No.
Councillor Burton.
Thank you.
Councillor Burton.
I find this interesting. I actually wasn't at that seminar, but I go to several seminars that the council puts on, so I know the way in which they are presented and the sorts of issues are brought to the elected members for discussion. And from talking to a lot of people who were there across the political colours, because there were people from all different parties there, and they all tell me the same thing. I said, well, what actually happened? And they do tell me that when they ask the question, what are we going to do about this then?
So you suddenly remember them.
No, I'm telling you, if I ask people
People are
what...
remembering.
Will you please let the councillor answer the question? You're not giving her a chance. I'll let her answer.
What I'm saying is I wasn't there. So, and I saw this seminar referred to in the J report, and I thought, well, this is interesting. Let me ask some more questions about this. But when I asked, and I've asked now several people who were there, they said, yes, of course, it was brought to us as an issue. I know that there's an issue of child sexual exploitation in Rotherham, just as I know that there's an issue of child sexual exploitation in pretty much every town in the UK. But that aside, they all tell me, and as I say, including all the elected members of all political colours, when they asked the question, what are we going to do about this, they were told very forcefully by the police that there is currently an initiative to address this, and we would rather at this stage you did not get involved.
We're getting various.
Yes, actually. Now, if you would like me to go on, I will. No, actually,
Let me
Mrs.
finish.
I've never denied anything. No, actually, I have not.
Yes, you did.
I have never denied knowing anything. I really want that.
Right,
minute.
please.
You
Stuart,
said you knew
Stuart,
nothing about
Stuart,
it.
you want to-
I did not say that.
Yes, you did.
Stuart.
Numerous times. And I'm saying to you, you had the reports from that meeting on yellow paper. You cannot have not known about it, and you have denied it consistently.
I have
And
not.
I asked you.
No, I'm sorry, your memory really is faulty on
No,
this. I have
no.
never denied
Absolutely
knowing
not.
that there is an issue of child sexual exploitation.
You said you
In
knew
fact, I
nothing
have actually taken quite the opposite stance, always. And I've said there's a massive issue of child sexual exploitation across the country. And actually what I have said is that if the experience of Rotherham helps us all to move forward on this, and I'm talking all the towns that have now come up with reports, and you will know what they are. They're Rochdale, they're Northampton, they're Peterborough, they're Bristol, they're Birmingham, they're Derby, they're Manchester. So what I am saying is if the experience of what has happened in Rotherham helps us all to move forward, then that has got to be a very positive thing. Now, going back to that seminar, as going back to all seminars, as a result of that, and this is going on to Mr. Lewis's question, is that we then actually did discuss it, as you rightly point out, but we were then in receipt of an Ofsted report, as you well know, which said that not only were the services good, they were excellent, and it went on to say that no child was at risk. Now, we know that that is not now the case, but that came from Ofsted. And I can tell you, as I'm sure everybody here who's been a teacher knows, that you don't actually question Ofsted.
Why not? There's whistleblowers.
Why not? Why not? Let me just...
Oh, well, that's...
Councillor Thornton, would you like to add anything to this?
I would. I mean, what you just heard there,
Yeah.
what you just heard there is probably the biggest piece of political propaganda
Absolutely.
from somebody who wasn't even at the meeting.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
Just a couple of other points there. Councillor Burns on about how good the Ofsted report was. What year was that?
2006, the
Right.
Ofsted report came in.
It's been shown already in these J reports that even up to 2013...
There's only one, actually.
So, well, it's been shown in these various reports, I'll correct myself, we shouldn't interrupt, that up until 2013 there's been problems with CSE, even after it was all revealed in, I think it was 2010. No child at risk. I beg to disagree. And when you turn around and say it's a positive thing for if other people say, there's no positive thing at all about CSE. Just go back to the original. The reason I put my hand up was when Councillor Sims was being questioned. He's changed his mind to what was said before. Because when, I believe when he was sat over where Stephen's now sitting, he said there was no detail in that meeting at all. And now he said there was detail. So now we're getting flipped.
Chair,
Excuse me, I'm still talking.
on a point of fact, can we
Right, first thing,
can we
don't
stick to fact?
Don't interrupt me while I'm speaking. When you stop shouting.
Yeah.
Chair, this council...
This councillor is just talking for the sake of it.
Facts. And if I had my way, I'd have you all sit down and move on.
Right.
Chair, Chair, can I just say something, Chair? Right, first thing is Councillor Simpson has just asked a member of the public not to interrupt him while he's speaking. I was speaking, he stood up and interrupted me. But not only that, he was shouting while he was speaking, and you've done nothing about it.
Well, I sympathise with him.
Well, it's not matter if you sympathise with him. If he's shouting, that's
We're
against
going
the
to
law.
move on to the next question from Mr. Lewis, and the answer to it was...
You're about to cover him up as this
Should
one.
they resign? The question was, should they resign? And the answer is exactly the same as it was the last 3 times, no.
Well, I want to answer because she made a statement saying, let me tell you, Rotherham Children and Young People's Board, this was May 31st, 2005. Who were there? Roger Stone, Boys, Kirk, Ellis. Senior Advisor, Children and Young People's Services, Councillor Burton. Knife.
Yes.
Mr. Lewis,
If you want,
Mr.
I
Lewis,
can go through all the names over there.
Mr. Lewis, you must understand that if you're acting on a committee, you can only work on the information given to you by officers. And if they say everything's okay, you have to take the word. Otherwise, you've got nothing.
It's
No
been
ground.
9 years, 9 years, and they've done nothing. Councillors should go.
Joe Burton has the report senior on yellow paper.
Yes?
Mrs. Sadler, Mrs. Sadler, you want to ask a
And
question?
Joe Burton,
No,
Joe
move on.
Burton
Mrs.
made a most unfortunate remark in the cabinet
Yeah.
meeting at Rotherham
Right,
about the CSE.
Mrs. Sadler, your question.
The situation now.
Look, you realise that Mrs. Stradley is taking all the time that should be left over the people. Right, Mrs.
I've
Wall,
never been to a cabinet meeting, I'm
Mrs.
sorry.
Sadler, Mrs. Sadler,
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good
Mrs. Sadler, you wanted to know where we got the facts from for the news sheet, the quarterly news sheet which you've got there. The questionnaire.
Have you finished?
Oh, where did it go from?
Have you finished?
Chair,
Yeah.
Take again whenever they want to.
the
Whose brainchild was the survey?
The survey, well, it's a memory test. This is the third time we've done the survey. The first time it was produced by a group of councillors and members of the public and was considerably longer than the latest edition. I edited the questions, Robin I think did the second questionnaire. Because of the land purchase, it was not possible to take that back to the public. I have done the third questionnaire and I have cut the questions down. I brought it to a informal meeting here where it could have been discussed. The meeting didn't get very far, I'm sad to say. But the whole point of the survey is that you need to do something of that nature in order to obtain, or in our case, retain, quality parish council status.
I understand.
And in my view, the questions are about that.
Right, it's the, well, one question. Could you please tell me what is the end result of the question that asks whether people go to church? What are you going to use that information for? And that is just one example of a waste of money.
It's interesting this. A number of us were at Southampton Methodist Church on Friday afternoon, not necessarily Christian believers, but people of Anston Parish. I am not a regular churchgoer, although I am confirmed in the Church of England. I have many friends of different faiths. The original questionnaire actually did include 2 or 3 from different faiths. I think it's helpful to know how many people still go to church and how many people still believe that the church plays a function in public life.
How are you going to use the information?
You can't. I've been asked this question before. You can't guess what the answer is, so you can't guess what you're going to do with it.
When you compile a questionnaire, you have an end result in mind,
Uh,
and you ask questions
no.
to obtain the information that you need.
That's unfair. I think you do ask questions to if you like, encourage more knowledge about the public of Anston and the parish of Anston. But whenever you ask questions, you shouldn't know what the answer should be. What's the point of asking?
No, but you must have an end result. Why do you want to know why people go to
The
church?
bottom line to me is that there are still plenty of people in this parish who believe that church is important to their
What
lives.
has that got to do
Well, no.
with running a parish council?
How are you going to
Well,
do
I fail
that?
to see the connection.
Mrs. Sadler, what you've got to remember is that the parish council is charged with looking after the welfare of the council, of the parish, and that includes going to church. You don't have to...
No. The churches look after themselves.
No, they don't.
John.
No, they don't. It says on that question, why do you go to church? Burial, marriages, baptisms, worship.
I fail to see what it's got to do with the
think
fact. I only
that-
want you to explain to me.
But that's
Why
just...
are you wasting
No,
parishioners' money asking questions?
So we just want an idea of why the church is doing what it's doing.
What's it got to do with anybody round this table?
It's got
Could I,
John, to be buried.
John, could I have another attempt?
Yeah.
It's not interactive
The-
about people talking.
The uniform Stuart, if only you would talk with people rather than try to be always a master of...
You shout every time the chairman's talking, you shout.
The thing is that it's okay every time he likes to interrupt other people.
I know exactly what he does. I elected him to do it.
Well, okay, let me put it this way. When we have the Remembrance Parade, which is a big event for many people in Anston, you have got the uniformed services here. And many of them are, if you like, part of the churches of Anston. That is an important part to those people's lives, the children and the adults and the leaders. And I think John is absolutely right. The parish council should be about the parish of Anston.
So, can you tell me why you've wasted all this money?
I've not wasted any money.
Yes, you have.
In your view, you think so,
Right.
you're entitled to that
Have
view.
you
I
asked
do
the-
not agree with
Would
you.
you like to ask the people of Anston if, in their view, you are chucking their money away?
Well, I think
Because they don't know. That is the problem.
I think
So why can't the parish of Anston have a Christmas tree?
Nick's got an iPhone.
where are you going to electricity from, by the way?
You know, where John?
I can tell you where they get their electricity because I've actually asked a member of Dinnington Town Council, and I've been told they took a decision a few years ago not to have fireworks. They hire out their Christmas, their decorations, and they've got transformers and they go directly into the mains. They're not into the street lights. They are. Well, of course, the town council don't know what they voted for. I asked 2 town councillors only on Sunday yesterday how they get their electricity, and they said you go into the mains through the transformers.
Right, Mr. Pearson, can I have your
So right,
question, please?
can't we do that and get a tree? Because you can have a tree for nothing. Our Tara would provide the tree.
It's religious, that.
Well, all we need is to be fixed up.
Where are you going to get the electricity?
That's 6 years.
Where are you going to get the lights from?
Exactly.
Where are you going
Well, where there's a will, there's a way. All villages and towns around this England
We're
are
digressing from the question now.
tree lights.
Even further.
And there's more situations than what we're facing with.
Right, Mr. Pearson, can I have your question?
Well,
Yeah, go on.
the thing is, I'm wondering, a few years ago we got hit by
That's right.
heavy snow. Forecasters are forecasting for more or less the same event this year. They might be wrong, they probably will be. But what plans has this parish council got in place to get, i.e., kids down this boat to school safely without breaking the necks and hanging on to railings? We've got probably 5 schools in Anston Parish area, which is receiving no help from anywhere as I know of, for clearing the road,
Yeah, well, there's a borough council plan for where
Yeah, there is, but the parish council hasn't signed up to that, no.
Has it been said?
But parish council,
Yeah, a suggestion. Sandbag station and things like that. Do you know?
Can I just... Sorry.
Come on.
can I just finish my question, John?
Yeah.
The thing is, the borough is giving parish councils as much initiative as they can for their own staff to actually get out and contribute to this. They've also offered you a grit, which you've also refused, which I find absolutely ridiculous, on statements that you said that you know where to put it. I'm sure if somebody approached boroughs, one of the 3 councils approached Rotherham Borough and said, look, we could have a problem with this, we'd like this salt, have you got a couple of 3 spare grape bins you're not doing now, or can you tell us where to purchase them from? And to try to keep this in. The problem we've got is Rotherham Borough's only got 6 gritties, 4 is only functional, 2 is in standby for repairs and services. What you've got to realise is, at the end of the day, we were once left on our own once before, for nearly 2 weeks, and I don't think that this parish should be, and residents of this parish should have to suffer this sort of stuff every winter time when we've got 3 members of staff which can be out there getting these kids to school, gritting services, the shops, one thing and another, and it's not an hard task to do.
Yeah, all I can say about Lockwood Avenue, we have a brick bin there and it's always topped up with rooms.
It might be topped up, John, but that's one brick bit. What I'm saying is, what about these roads for these kids down to school?
Well, sure.
Go on then, what are you going to say?
I mean, I sympathise with a lot of the points Kevin made. I mean, when we got the really bad snow, it was about 3 years ago now, maybe. A lot of communities like this were cut off, and even those that were in the middle of Rotherham, you know, there was not much room for manoeuvre. I mean, such as Thorpe Salvin was cut off for even longer because of the obvious things that they have to put up with in terms of local amenities or lack of them. In terms of the council, obviously it's RMBC who has the statutory duty to grit roads and to ensure that communities, wherever they can, are cut off. The snow 3 years ago was, you know, quite an extraordinary year for the levels of snow that we experience, and of course there's only so much that we can do with the infrastructure we've got in terms of gritting and also emergency planning, which kicked in at that time when we saw the Methodist Church again step into the community of Anston to help people in that time and to feed people. And even I think even some of the drivers
35 lorry drivers
on the A57, as we all know, were supported in there. The council, as I say, has a statutory responsibility in every year that I can remember, so that's the last 3 years. The council's been overspent on our gritting budgets because of the fact that we have a responsibility to do it, and if we need to spend more and do more doing it, then we have to. There's two schedules, I believe. One's the primary routes, which is essentially the main roads, and that includes the bulk and the roads through Anston and other areas of the borough. And then there's the secondary gritting roads, which is mainly the housing estates, as much as we can. So all that's in there, and you know when we know what we think there's going to be bad weather, they'll get done in the main. Obviously, there's times when they break down or they have to go back to the depot. All these kind of elements play a role. There's a couple of things I would say. One is there's only so much we can do. If we have a bad year, you know, the weather just is going to beat us. The second thing is, and I don't know whether we did this at the time, but I can remember us talking about it as a parish council, Kevin, because I think that's what you're asking in terms of what the parish council can do. We had a discussion about adopting our own, and I think Judy led on this, I think, our own emergency planning regime about, you know, actually what we might want to do if we experience a bad year for weather again like that. Who are the relevant key players in terms of the church, the council, community groups, key individuals within the parish who may be able to help with ensuring that the most vulnerable in the parish are supported in that. And I don't know where we actually got with that. Maybe Councillor Dalton could maybe fill us in, but it is something that is at the forefront of people's minds this time of the year, and we have to do everything we can to ensure that we support people.
Stuart.
First things first, I don't remember having that discussion about emergency plans. To answer your question, I think your question is, do we have a plan? The parish council has a plan, is that the question?
My question is, what's the parish council willing to do, able to do, and can do, should Rotherham Borough fail and start losing this village again like they did last time? We've got shops where people have got to visit for supplies. We've got doctors what need to be sorted out. We've got to try and keep a safe roof for children for school. We've got 5 schools. Not one of them receives any care. This is one of the parish councils that has actually refused grit from councils to actually help themselves. And I find that it's unbelievable that we've got 3 ground staff who could actually grit a safe roof for these schools and one thing and another. But they want to do that, and I want to know what plan have we got, and if we haven't got one, don't you think you ought to be putting one together?
Right, let me try and answer that right. The answer then to your question is, as a parish council, we haven't got a plan. The only plan we've got is a copy of an RMBC plan, which, if I remember right, is part of the emergency plan. Then we go on to the gritting. The council's been offered to take gritting and, sorry, what was it? Salt, sorry, to take salt rather to grit. It's not just a simple case of taking the grit and using it whenever. We have to find storage for it. We have to find people who's going to distribute it. And it's not an easy case of just saying that the workers can do it, because it's far too big a task. We haven't got the facilities or the cash to start making proper bins, and it's not just a grit bins, it's a big amount, it's tons of salt we're wanting to put on us. The Borough Council are asking us to take all the issue on with grit, with arranging wardens and that, but they're not offering no money. We haven't got the capability or the money to do it. It also pulls in, if you start asking members of the public, if you give members of the public shovels to use the grit that you're supplying, you then start going into the grey areas of who's insured for who. And this is the sort of problems we have talked about this at these meetings. We're not getting no money, financial help whatsoever from Rotherham. They're expecting us to help them do their statutory duty and not giving us nothing to do. But the answer to your question is we haven't got a plan.
I can answer some of that for you, Stuart. The thing is, Rotherham Borough has operated a snow warden scheme, right? Under that scheme, any member of public who can give grit to, it's called A2L, right? What happens is, if there's only in the last few years, there's only 3 claims ever been placed in Rotherham Borough for people falling down when a place is being gritted. All them claims has been squashed, and nobody will ever be showed a claim for it. Now, if you were to become a volunteer snow warden, what happens is, if you create a problem, then the parish takes, if somebody tries to claim, the snow warden reports it back to the parish reports it back to the borough, the claim is squashed. It's called under an 8-12 scheme. And I understand that we haven't got any snow wardens. I understand that Dinnington are offering the same service for snow wardens. And I also know that they've only got one snow warden. But what I'm saying is, you've got to realise at the end of the day, we can't rely on Rotherham Borough Council for everything. Sooner or later, we've got to turn around, stand up and do it ourselves, if we need to. All this about insurance is all a load of crap. Once that gets buried into dust, all that lot falls.
It's only
It
a load
becomes
of
like a state of emergency at that council.
Right,
the insurance is only a load of rubbish until we get hit with the first claim.
Go get it with a claim.
Oh, you will.
It seems that we've got no plans in place at all.
Can I speak?
All I know is that close where I live, all the people get together and do it.
Well, there you go, but you're right likely for a claim then, aren't you?
They don't let me do it, it's I'm too old.
Well, can't climb, or do it, go back to, I can't remember the bloke's name, what's running scheme. I don't
don't forget,
if you get in touch with Dinnington,
Stuart's quite correct. If you go to Doncaster, you go to Rotherham, you go to Sheffield, you see these massive igloo, because you've got to keep the salt dry. Otherwise it just runs away.
What did I say? Dinnington Council, right, for instance, their grit is going on a sheet, they're tipping it onto a sheet and resheeting back over it. So they're just using space or a sheet.
Yeah.
We've got it won't wash away till it can't know it.
Anyway, we're not getting
get grit bins.
Yeah. Stuart, we're not
If
getting
we've got 6 grit bins here, it's better than none.
Chairman, if we stop sacking workers, we might go meant to do it.
I don't think we've sacked any workers, we've put one on.
Can I just make
And
a...
it's like Councillor Can just said, he said with no money, we'd run out of money. He spent over £4 million on 3 buildings, 2 of them still empty, and one we made 40,000.
Nothing to do with the parish, I'm afraid. Sandra, would you like to come and just give us a brief report on this, on the skateboard thing?
Well, I think Madam
Just for a couple of minutes, because we're running out of time now.
really ought to do it. Have you sorted this?
No, as far as I've only got 2 answers. What's the rest of everybody think?
Because it would be nice to really
I know it would be
get
nice,
together with a
it's-
plan for that.
Yeah.
Can I just make a comment on that, John? The parish council was sent an email the other week by Colin Knight, who was in charge of the road network, updating all the parishes and councils on what equipment, what level they were at with salt storage, number of drivers, etc., etc. And this has been it's been massively increased since 3-4 years since they've gone through it all again. So the numbers are great, and the information is there. It was sent out by the clerk to everybody, as far as I can remember. and they have trained about 40 bus drivers up, I think, so they've got shift cover all over the place, and it's been improved, the amount of salt stored, etc, etc. There are plans in place for primary routes, as Dominic says, schools, health centres, old age person centres, so it has all been improved since 2010 when we had that first.
What Kevin's saying to you though, Clive,
can I just...
the borough couldn't get here.
Can I just finish, Kevin? The problem is, Kevin's saying about using our staff, but if they don't live in the village, how do they get to the village through the snow? To clear the snow here, it's a physical impossibility to have like 2010.
And the other point,
you don't just grit when it's snowing. You grit when it's ice. They can get here for work. They can get here to grit.
I'm sure Councillor Dalton and Councillor Bell will back me up on this.
Well, that's into it, Clive.
They haven't.
Get set up as a snow warden then, don't you?
Well, why don't you?
I will do if that's what you take.
Are you going to let me finish what I'm telling you? The amount of ice or the gritting, it's done whenever we get a warning sent through. Every time there's a grit or an ice alert. So it's done every day, it's updated. They're out whenever it gets to a certain temperature, so all the areas are covered. The plan is far better than it was a few years since, so all the routes and everything are covered by gritting. We can't expect to call parish workers in at night to start gritting areas. It's just, it's impossible. The borough do all this, they do the roads, the footbridges, road bridges, everything is on that list and it's sent out daily during the winter as to whether they do it.
At the end of the day,
you're on about roads, I ain't mentioned your roads here.
Well,
we automatically know that borough's going to be doing a
well, they're doing the footpaths as well. They do the footpaths, the roads.
So
they're all on that emergency plan.
Is Borough Council going to car park at post office, which is like the one in 3 or whether they're going to break the neck? Are they going to
Why can they do that? That's private. It's private property. It's private property. They'll do down the pawn shops, they'll do the medical centre, because that's a priority. So if they do the medical centre, they've got the Quarry Lane.
His point is if the borough can't get into this building, what backup have you got if the borough can't get in?
Well, how do we get staff to do that work?
Yeah, if you took the snowboarders course on, you might have had staff to do it.
It's down to individual people to enrol on that snowboard.
Can I finish this one by saying that we don't know whether we're going to get 2 inches or 25 foot. So all your planning will go out through the window when it happens with hope that it's being covered. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Waller if she could give us a total amount.
We spent £10,000 and it could rain on me.
Well, I feel that Miles will do the I just felt it was disappointing that we only had Ian come to the presentation when boys had put all that work. Yeah, but Clive's on the work party, isn't it? That nobody else, you know, has everybody else watched it on YouTube or have you seen it?
Seen the dominoes.
Yeah.
Seen them.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Anybody else?
Is that good? Chair, could I say the same? One of the problems is that I think Miles thought an email had gone out to all members.
Yeah, but he announced it, Ian, at
No,
the meeting.
yeah, but it's...
He said we were doing this...
If you want to see my diary, then it'll be the same as everybody else's. It's crammed and it's Christmas. But it was on the night before, he said, Ian, are you coming? I thought, oh, right, so I came. But we're all in the same boat of trying to do perhaps too much.
But he did
It was good.
And you know, things do go down, you do write things down, but obviously that didn't seem important enough to write down. And I just thought it was such a shame when boys had put all that effort in.
Yeah, I think you're doing a good job, Sandra.
Can I just say something about that?
Yeah, then we've got to move on now. Just one.
I mean, there were sheets laid out here for remarks to go on, you know, for support for these this that are going in, but there wasn't anybody here to put the remarks on.
Sandra, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to be there. I told Miles that I couldn't go. I think the young people have done a fantastic job, and you know, the other person that's done really a terrific amount of work is Miles and is Sandra. They've absolutely put loads and loads of work into it. So it's a shame that perhaps not so many people were here. It was a little bit short notice, and it was also, as Ian says, a bit of a crammed calendar. So what would be quite nice, I think, perhaps, is to do it again in the new year. we'll recreate that event and have it again, so that we can get more people there to see the efforts, if that seems a suitable thing to do. So let's say, well, that was a first one, but we can have another event and
Okay. Right. Close.
and that will ensure we get a wider audience. I think wider than beyond the parish council, perhaps other community groups as well.
Well, there was a few parents there, I think that they was a bit disappointed that there wasn't any support.
Right, so we're closing this public session and we're going into the council meeting. Number 1, to receive apologies for absence, which are in the book. There's just one, Helen Ward. And
Robin Stonebridge. He's got another meeting. He's down there, Michael. He's a relative on Trent.
It wasn't likely to attend. It's not attended a council meeting this year.
okay, Joe, accept those, please. Also, to disclose members' personal interest on any items to be discussed.
It's 11-1, Chair, but I don't know what to sort of declare because ultimately it'd be my decision if it gets put on the register. I'm happy. I don't think it's necessarily an interest, but I will just make the point that whatever's discussed will not be ministry.
Does it come under your remit?
Okay.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Can I suggest, if it comes under your remit, if you was to leave the room, there's no disgrace in that. You can't get accused of anything, then, can you?
At least you'll be aware of the council's feelings. You'll be aware of the council's feelings, that's all. Number 3, identify items which the press and public may be excluded. Nothing at this stage. Number 4, to confirm the minutes of the parish council on Monday 17th of November. You've all got copies of them. Page 1. Page 2. And page 3.
Can I come in on page 3, please?
Yes, you can.
Right, on the 85-14 standing orders,
Yeah.
at the bottom it says, and it's on about when we changed our standing orders about filming. It says, there is an expectation that reporting will focus on the proceedings of the meeting and those who are participating rather than those who are simply attending. I asked the question then, I didn't get an answer. Are we filming the audience with these 2 cameras above us? Because if we're filming with these 2 cameras, that goes against what we've just said there.
You explain us something, Steve?
Yeah, we were taking participating as meaning if the audience were asking questions, it would be filming the audience. Is that what we took participating to mean? That's.
So you can't ask people who are not asking questions who are outside, can you?
Right, can I just come back on that one as well? Because we attended an area assembly meeting, there was several of us here tonight who were there, and I've forgotten the gentleman's name from RMBC. And basically, he gave the opinion that the way the legislation is written is to hold us, the councillors, to account, not the public. But again, I'll ask the question, are we filming the public with these cameras?
Well, yeah, I don't know what the cameras are aimed at, but I assume that we are.
I presume this camera's filming us, quite right, it should.
And those 2, that one, that one.
So that's
But
the question.
that corner there is not being filmed.
Are the 2 cameras above your head, are they filming the public now?
Those 2, yeah.
Yes, are they filming the public now?
Yes, that one.
The council have viewed them on the website. The council will see.
I went on the website tonight to have a look and I can't
Chair.
remember where the meetings are.
Chair, point of order.
I still haven't had an answer to the question yet.
Chair, on a point of order, I don't want to stand up. We are agreeing on not the accuracy of the minutes, not having another debate.
The chair allowed the question, but it's not answered yet.
Okay, well I can't give an answer. So all those in favour of approving these minutes, please show. Thank you.
Kevin, having re-elected in the Civil War.
To receive the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting 17th and the 10th of December.
Chair.
People, seconded. And seconded. All those in favour, please show. So just receive them now. Planning list. New dwelling and access land adjacent to Lindrick, Brighton Road.
No.
Have we got that?
There were some on the meeting last week, Chair, but they've not got brought onto this one because of the sequence of the minutes going out. I think there were about 5 applications on last week's finance. There were some, weren't there? We didn't get around to discussing
Well, the agenda for this came out
before that. That's what I'm saying. The secret, yes, that's why we carried over. But there were some.
Well, there was 1573 plans in here.
Yeah.
Have you no objections to it?
No, what's that?
Yeah, 1573.
Yeah.
Which is what we're discussing.
Well, not necessarily an objection. I'd like to just make comments on it.
Yeah.
Strange on this, I must admit. I've had a look at the plans and where it's squeezed in, and it's. I know there used to be a problem about the backyard developments, but this is a fruit garden development if you look at it. I'm also concerned it's adding another access onto that bit of right road near the crossroad, which is not very good at the moment when the traffic backs up there. So you're adding another access in there, and also it looks slightly incongruous because it's a bungalow in between two quite substantial semi-attached houses. It looks totally out of place to me, and I think it's just been really squeezed in. And I think the applicant appears also to be the owner of the land. I'm not sure if I read it correctly.
Clive, could you give us a direction? Could you move a resolution?
Yeah, as I say, I'm not happy about it, and I think I will object personally. Whether the parish, anybody else has got any objections to it, I'm not. I'm just not happy about where it's squeezed in. Problems there.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same conclusion as Clive. I think it is squeezed in, and we've got another let off Brighton Road, if there aren't many already. But I didn't think it was something that the council wanted to hold a view on personally, because I think the neighbours will have their own opinions on that as well, and obviously personally we may want to object as well. But if it is wrong that the council objects, I'm willing to object.
Right, what do you want to do? Leave it to neighbours?
Well, I'd say I've got my view.
There's nothing to stop you.
No, I mean, I don't know what everybody else on the council, if they've had a look at what their views are. I mean, I'd say as councillor Beck, I'm not happy with that being squeezed in there. I must admit, I think it's a bit of a forced development, just trying to build on a piece of land that's spare. I wasn't quite sure. I thought that land originally belonged to the house's backyard. It looks like it's being linked to the bungalow around the back, I think, where the applicant lives, unless I'm incorrect. But I think it's going to cause a further problem with the crossroad, which is one of the traffic lights got hit this morning. We were out for quite a long time. It was starting to become chaos there. So I think we should be looking to reducing that traffic into that road, not increase it. But I mean, I'll move that we place an objection on traffic grounds and it's inappropriate development in that area.
Look, according
if anybody else.
Yeah, according to the plan drive, it just shows one car, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a problem. You put another one in very close to that.
I'll second that, Chair.
Well, that we object?
Yeah.
That's a proposal and second. Anyone else got on the grounds of traffic? Stuart?
What my opinion is on this is, yes, Clive's quite right, it's a bungalow in an area of housing, which is probably not quite appropriate. I personally believe there's not a lot we can do about this one, because I think this is going to be down to the whim of the planning officer on the day, whether he's going to allow a building to take place inside a garden. So I'm going to yeah, I mean, but yeah, you're right. Traffic might have a view, but highways don't seem to have that much input, in my opinion, to the plan. I'm going to abstain on this because of the vote. Because I think the bungalow is probably inappropriate. I don't believe that we will have that much influence. I think it's going to be a planning decision on the day.
Yeah. This is a good example of, particularly with planning, if you don't try, you can't complain when the result doesn't suit you.
Yeah.
Now my view is that road, alright, it's the far side of the crossroads, is only going to get more busy as time goes by. If we are concerned, you put your hand up and say, I want to express reservations or object.
Yeah.
It actually says in there clearly that it's going to be a decision by a planning officer. They are trained and they're not, they're not capricious. They will make a sensible judgment. But if we object, we can at least say, well, we tried.
Well, I've got a proposal and a seconder that we object. All those in favour, please, on grounds of traffic.
Yep.
Inappropriate. And inappropriate development. All those in favour, please show.
Can I just make one further comment about the planning issue, Chair? Because we didn't get to those last week, there was one I think that's been caused a lot of problems in the village, which is the one on Main Street about the hoardings and stuff like that. And I've got a feeling that we might be, by the time we meet again in January, we're going to be too late on that. And I'm trying to think, there were a couple of others that were on there, but I think that one at Main Street has caused problems. I think what they're trying to do now is actually rectify what they've done, and it's something like retrospective planning, but highways weren't happy about that situation all day, so it may well get turned down wherever we apply for. But it's just the fact that it's slipped through the net, unfortunately.
I know there's a piece of history on that as well there, because with the road sign.
Yeah, it was the old West Riding
County Council that showed Lawton and
yeah, the council have raised this a couple of years since, and it was one of the really old ones, and somebody I think has taken it. It's not, it wasn't the developer, it was gone before they started on it. I think
Sunny Garden at the bottom of Church Street.
Yeah. Right. Community infrastructure levy.
Yes. Sorry, can I interrupt you? Yeah. Before we go on to the community infrastructure levy, can I request that we bring forward items 11 in the whole to this point of the meeting? These items 11, 1 through to 9 I think it is, have now been, some of these items have been sat on the agenda since September.
Yeah.
Can I ask that you bring these items forward to this part of the meeting as a matter of urgency?
Well, that's up to the decision of the council. All in favour? Are you proposing that?
Well, I don't know if I can propose it because it's on the agenda. But I'm quite sure if you need to make a decision.
Yeah,
I'm quite sure
well, that's what the council to.
Well, I'm quite sure if you make a decision, I'm
Chair.
quite sure the issues will be.
I wouldn't agree with that. I think one of the problems we have as a council is the fact that the public session, I think, took 40 minutes. Yeah. And it's supposed to be 10. It ended up as an argument rather than a question and answer. Secondly, if we'd got our finger out and got on with it, we would knock all these questions off by 9 o'clock at the latest. So it's up to us. Really shifting them, I think, means other things. Let's be brief, get on with it.
Yeah.
I think what we should do, Chair, is I think we should, you say you agree with it.
Right, in that case, we'll crack on and see, change it later if necessary. Well, we can look at the planning list 46. There's 2 on there: Edinburgh Drive, New House and Garage, land off Main Street, hoardings and flagpoles. You want to start? Yeah. Edinburgh Drive.
Leave it to the neighbours.
That's just a brand new house on
new house.
Land in the back of
land off Main Street.
New house and garage. I think that one's
hoardings and flagpoles.
No problem.
No problem. Lindrick Dale, extension with balcony.
Yeah, I wanted to on the flagpole one. I don't think everybody's probably got all the information. I was going to have another look at it again. So if I have a look, and can I make a comment on it on behalf of the council? Because it's I think it's a retrospective application for the hoarding, which has been causing problems for people's vision around there. I think traffic has got a view on that. So I'll follow that one up even more rather than.
Do members agree with that?
Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah. Wood Mill, Dale extension with balcony.
Yeah, that actually is it would be very nice when it's done.
Yeah.
And little golfing start from Rotten, I understand this.
Let's go to 47 Hawthorne Avenue, extension and garage.
Neighbours.
And where's Colbeck Place? Oh, yes, Colbeck Place. Go ahead. Extension, number 11.
Yeah, that's
Here's the neighbours, they're motion.
It's the other side.
yeah, well,
Right, okay, we can move on then. Community infrastructure levy, deadline 5th of January, draft charging schedule November 2014. Any comments?
yeah, can I speak on this? And I went to the just remind me, my parish network meeting last Tuesday night. Councillor Thornton and the clerk were there as well. This is come round for about its 4th attempt community infrastructure levy.
Did you use the microphone?
Sorry, Mrs. Southern. Yeah, it's about a 3rd or 4th attempt. It's come round at. There's still there were quite a lot of comments made on it by various parish councils because it does affect a lot throughout the borough. This is the charge that they're going to levy against developers for building on Greenbelt, basically. Well, any building site under the local development plan. And the problem that I raised and one or two other people did was the Dinnington, North Anston area is considerably lower than anywhere else in the borough in the attempt to get developers to build. I think it's £15 a square metre, which will bring in very little in the way of money for the parishes or the town councils to spend. Although Dinnington have got a lot of houses, they will get a reasonable amount, but I don't think it will cater for what the problems that all that building will bring. And I did ask David Edwards, who sent this out, to have a look at the North Anston, South Anston split, because if you build in North Anston it's £15 a square metre. I think if you build in South Anston it's 30 something like £30 a square metre, and I couldn't understand that because theoretically the one on Main Street, Pennypiece Lane, is a nice green field site overlooking Sheffield, and that would be £15 a square metre, and where something in Southampton would be £30 a square metre. Maybe Blackstone's, I'm not sure where the boundary falls. But I thought that was quite strange that the better site was actually going to bring in less revenue from developers that would go there first. So they've gone back to have a look at 1 or 2 points, but I think we've got to make a comment by January the 5th, so whether we go along those lines. I mean, obviously everybody wants to get Blackstone's developed, I think, to get something done on it because it's an eyesore at the moment. But the theory is that if you charge less, they'll encourage developers. But my point was, if you're building on a nice greenfield site at Thropen and you're only paying £15 a square metre, you get killed in the rush, I think, as they decided to get out there and build on it. So, you know, Moorgate is £60 a square metre, and the nice open rural countryside is £15 a square metre, which I think is totally incongruous. It's the wrong way around.
Yeah, just 1 or 2 other little points on it. I mean, there's quite a lot of information on that meeting. And I've just forgotten what I was going to say. Right. One of the things that came up is, under this community infrastructure levy, there are certain exemptions. Certain buildings are exempt from we call it tax. One of the items that's exempt is affordable homes. Now the question was asked what was an affordable home, and I don't think really the answer came out yet again. But one of the answers, and I'm looking at Claire now to make sure I'm right what I'm saying, is one of the things that came out, it's not envisaged that very many, if not at all, will be any affordable homes built in Rotherham. Is that what it actually said? It says something very similar.
I think the number is going to be not that high at the end of the day. The only thing I can do is ask all councillors to read the document that's been sent through from David. Unfortunately, it's not in colour, so you'll have to work out which is rural and rural and urban, but it's the big, but I think Kimmins and Wales is a higher price per square metre than Northampton. So I think the you know the number of affordable homes is open to question at the moment, because I don't think it's an educated guess as to how many will appear on the market, and they rely on being taken by social landlords. If the social landlords have not any money, then obviously the numbers go down. But it's a work in progress, so I think it's going to be adopted by next year. So we'll know the results.
So what are you proposing that we do, Clark?
Well, I would ask everybody to, when does it close, Mike? Is this 5th of January? I think if anybody reads through it and they say, my objection is really the sort of amount of money that's going to come back. And I know the money they get from the infrastructure levy is not going to pay for everything that's going to happen in the area, which is, I think we all appreciate that, but I think there's something like a 50 million shortfall that they envisage, even after all the houses were built, it would be 50 million short to pay for all the infrastructure. So they say all that's been sent out, so if you want to read it and want to make comments about that, just send them to David Edwards and he'll have a look at them.
Stuart, can you wrap it up now?
Yeah, I think as a council we should make some comments as a parish council, as well as if individuals want to make their own comments. I think we should definitely make a comment. Again, I'm looking at Clive for information about this discrepancy between North and South Anston. And obviously the comments would be we want the North Anston to go up to the same price as South Anston. Well, as we know, it'll probably come down. So I'd like to make a proposal as a council. We write to David Edwards, and again I'm looking at Clive about this North and South Anston issue. Write and say that we need that to be revisited.
You want to vote for it?
Yeah. Well, shall I put something together and send it to you, Mike, and we can send it on to
right.
We were at that meeting, so it's a better idea than what he said.
That Clive put something together on this report and comes back to the clerk. Is all in favour of that?
Yes, but what is the general gist of what's...
What is it? In Northampton they're charging 15, but in Southampton
they're charging 30.
So
we're wanting parity.
We're wanting more parity on that.
Yeah, to revisit that issue again, and hopefully to get both the higher price.
Right, well, if you're all in favour of that, Clive will do that. The authorising of sealing documents. No, nothing on that. To receive communication sent by Parish Council, no resolution being moved. Number 1, to discuss a letter from the President regarding budget consultation. This is from Mr Dickens. There's only one thing, George, very sorry that it's got to this stage, but the thing is it's been on the agenda 4 times for the finance meeting, and every time the meeting's been cancelled. So we've not been able to get round to doing what we said we were going to do. It's in the minutes, and you can see that you can see why it's been. You can see that it's been cancelled. It's the minutes that were signed. And in fact, the one the other night was cancelled, apart from signing the cheques, because nobody wanted to be chairman. That's how we got to it.
There wasn't.
Not one person on the committee wanted to take the job as chairman, because the chairman and the vice chairman weren't there. Pardon?
I volunteered.
You were not on the committee, Stuart.
To be fair,
I still volunteered.
There were only 5 people there.
Yeah,
so
there were only 5 people there, so it only
choice.
just quorum. So that's the reason. And as soon as something does happen, George, I can assure you, we'll let you know. We've had 2 meetings already on the...
John, why have you left it till now
to
decide how you were going to consult? You could have done all that work for 12 months.
I think the point's been made, George. It has been on agenda since September.
No.
Unfortunately,
no. You could have discussed this January last year.
Okay, but we've had since September.
How you were going to consult? You've not done it, you left at the last minute.
No, every meeting since September has been cancelled. We could have discussed in September, October, which would have been plenty of time. We've not been able to hold the meeting, unfortunately.
You're missing the point. You could have started deciding how to consult, not the actual consultation, how you were going to do it last January. And you left it right till September.
No?
Yeah. Right. Anyway, that's the answer, George. I'm afraid.
Excuse me.
That's the answer. That's the answer. So we're going to no, there's no still. That's it. We can't go into that.
Well, listen, there's an item on the agenda, and I've purposely sat here and waited to give everybody else an opportunity to speak. And nobody really wanted to speak until Mr. Dickens decided to speak himself.
Right. What's your item again referring to?
We're referring to the item that you've just talked about.
What's that?
Well, you just spoke about it, so you should
No,
know about
I've
it.
just said that we haven't held the finance meeting for 4 meetings because they've been cancelled.
So what item was we discussing?
Well, you've got to get approval from the, as you move on by the finance committee, and the reasons haven't.
Nothing to do with the finance committee.
And how many have we? How many budget meetings have we had?
Two.
We've had 2 already. Had 2 budget meetings.
Let's just take a step back. Right. What item were we discussing? We was discussing the letter, was we not?
About progress, please, Chair.
Okay. What were we discussing?
I think he's going to try and get the point we were discussing 9-1, I think, as well.
Chair. Chair.
Yeah,
We're on 9.1. I think the general gist of Mr. Dickens' letter that we've not had a chance to discuss yet for the reasons we've already gave is because of the finance committee that it's been on that we've not had. I think the general gist of the sentiments of the letter is how we're going to consult. The answer is I've not seen it come up at any meeting yet about a discussion about how we will consult. And that includes all of us. That I've not seen this come up from any member of the council about how we consult on this. I wasn't at the last budget meeting we had last Thursday, so I don't know whether it was discussed there. But I quite agree that we should consult on the budget for next year. How we do that, I don't know. Who's going to lead on it, I don't know.
When's the next meeting? When's the next meeting?
Tuesday 22nd.
Tuesday the 22nd is the next meeting.
This one.
Just George, just to read the minute 79:14. The minutes of the finance meeting on 8th, 14th, 20th of October and 3rd of November were received. They were cancelled anyway.
So it's Tuesday 23rd.
No, Tuesday the 23rd.
Tuesday the 23rd?
Of this month.
Of
What
this
time?
month.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Budget meeting.
What time?
6:30.
6 o'clock.
Been brought forward, Gordon.
What,
6 o'clock. We'll get here on time.
Right.
6 o'clock.
Chair, are we discussing budget meetings here, or trying to discuss this letter? We've been at it 5 minutes and we've not
I've
answered.
answered Mr. Dickens. I've given him a reason why he's not been...
Can I just make a point here, Chair? I've raised this quite a few times in meetings actually. It might not well have been minutes, but I did broach the issue about... Sorry, Mr. Dickens, apologise. I have raised this once or twice about... One, two.
Yes, you know.
I have raised this several times about the consultation, and say it may well not have been minuted, but when we got to September, we knew we were going to be running behind time again, and unfortunately we've not got any budget meetings organised till December, so we can't put a consultation on until we started having budget meetings. I agree with the fact that some of the meetings have been cancelled, but we could still have organised meetings by just emails, I would have thought, brought it forward. I know we're not going to know certain issues from the Borough Council anyway to enable us to make a decision until the new year, so it's something like it's by the moment. But as I say, I have raised it before, but we didn't take any decision on when we were going to do it. So I'm disappointed that we've not made any progress on that, especially when we've said for the last couple of years that we were going to endeavour to do that, and we've not done it.
4 years ago. Right. Move on. Yes, Julie.
Just to say that at the last budget meeting we did task the clerk with going away to draft some questions in preparation for the consultation, and he'll bring us back to the next budget meeting with a view to putting them on survey monkey. I believe that was what we did.
First thing first, I thought that meeting was confidential. and I've already got a complaint against me for releasing confidential information. Surprise, surprise. Right, can I now tell her not to interrupt?
Well, seeing as that was irrelevant still.
Right, just hang on, have my say on this letter here. We've now got a council interrupting. We've got to get on to Saturday last week. It's funny, and you've done nothing about it.
You've already had a say.
So do you think it's acceptable for a council to be sat there laughing?
I don't.
It's
Right,
Christmas,
well,
Chair. I
tell
don't
me
come here
it's
to
not
enjoy myself.
So he's talking over me now.
Well, come on.
Right.
And then we come and move on.
Mr Dickens has taken time and effort to write to us over this so-called budget last year. He makes 6 important points. And one of them is that first point is the budget was already more or less agreed last year before it went out for consultation. I totally agree with it. The decision on whether to give the workers a rise, the tree issue, the £10,000 for the trees and facility, them decisions were already made, and it was highly unlikely that was going to change. The second point, the budget so-called consultation appeared on the Parish Council website over the Christmas period. Again, he's right. Who does a consultation over the Christmas period unless you're trying to hide something? That's the normal way it's seen. His third point, again another relevant point, is many Anston residents don't have computers. So if we're going to consult on a budget, why are we only doing it on a computer that probably quite a few people, elderly people in Anston, have no access to? His fourth point, there was no indication of the total expenditure being considered and how this affected precept or parish rate. Again, it's quite right, Mr Dickens. The consultation only included a wage rise, £10,000 for trees, I think £10,000 for facilities, and I can't remember what the fourth thing was, if there was. It wasn't a consultation on the budget, it was a consultation on 4 different items. His fifth point, there was no indication of outcome likely to be expected from the parish assets. I think what Mr Dickens means there is, there was nothing for the public to see how much income we possibly may be getting from our assets that we own. And his last, or one of the last things is put, there was no indication of how major changes in benefit legislation affected this year's budget, i.e. the grant from RMBC, and this how may affect future years. I'm quite sure that the public don't even know we have a grant from Rotherham. So again, the 6 very valid points. In fact, he goes on to say, and I'll read this part, Councillor Ireland, the Parish Council Chairman, acknowledged the so-called consultation to have been very poor and promised residents more thought will be given to the consultation in time for the 2015-2016 budget, which is this year. So what consideration are we given?
Well, Chair, the only thing I can say is that we don't know about number 6 because until they can tell us. But
you should know about number 6 because it affects you.
You cannot put anything out for consultation until you've got something to put out.
Chair?
Yeah.
Right. Point number 1, I believe, is an individual that I was elected to actually make decisions on behalf of the public. So although there may well be a time and place for consultation, essentially this parish council should make decisions. Secondly, the parish group that are trying to do the budget will only make a recommendation and it will only become fact after it's gone on the website and after the parish council has agreed or modified it. Thirdly, I'm intrigued that Mr Dickens says that there aren't many computers in Anston. That flies in the face of the second parish council questionnaire, which showed that every child who took the trouble to answer the questionnaire had access at home to the internet. Now I accept that there will be some older people who haven't got that facility, but in my experience, I'm staggered at the number of people who have got an email address and do access emails from home. The other thing is, and I'm not going to, well, I'm going to say it, this letter I think we first got was in October. Because one councillor will not accept the ruling of the council, 4 or 5 finance meetings have been abandoned. That is a fact. Now, if they had not been abandoned, if the council had abided by the rules of the council, this thing would have been discussed in October. Final point, and it's not necessarily a go at you, Clive, it's open to any of us from June, July onwards to say, I move that we start the budget process in September. Get a seconder, debate it. It has never been suggested.
I'd like a right to reply on that, because the budget meetings is normally the place where the consultation has been discussed. And when the budget issue came up, it was put to the councillors, what date would you like? And nobody around the table that night had any clue when we were going to have budget meetings. So when Councillor St John started to blame me for holding the budget meetings up, etc., and holding financing, you ought to remember, I think he was at that meeting and he didn't have a clue when the budget meetings were going on. I can't stop budget meetings if the council hasn't got any dates. And the reason they didn't have the dates is because the dates wasn't put in front of them. Well, let's go a bit further. We're going about consultation. I remember rightly last year that Councillor St John, who doesn't live in Anston, filled in the consultation document, but not only that, he tried to do it twice. I find that, in my opinion, that's fraudulent, for want of a better word. Not only does he not live here and feels trying to influence the outcome of the consultation, he asked me to stop interrupting me. Yeah. Not only is he trying to influence the outcome of a consultation in his village, he doesn't live here, so he doesn't pay our taxes.
Clive doesn't live here.
Well, yeah,
Jury Dalton doesn't live here.
Yeah, but he didn't try to fill it out twice, did he?
No, it's not. The computer will only accept one. I didn't know that it would only accept one.
Well, we found that out as Councillor St John said he
Did
tried it
everybody know
twice.
that?
Chair,
It only accepts one answer from one household.
Chair, we're getting bogged down. The points are being made. As I said before, I sympathise with what Mr Dickens has raised, and as a council we can only apologise we've not discussed it earlier, and the reason have been given for that. I suggest we move progress and that we do consult, and that at the next budget meeting again we decide how and when we're going to do that.
Right, then. To consider to approve the wording for a plaque at Anston Burial Ground. You know, if you remember, because it advertised the fact that it came from a particular church, it was objected to by some councillors, so they decided to ask them to remove it. They've reworded it, which is now
Donated by the Plymouth Brethren
donated by the Plymouth Brethren Christian.
But I move that we accept that.
Can I just
Yeah.
I could do a bit of guidance from the clerk on this. Last Wednesday we had an item on the agenda about the burial ground regulations, which all this ties in with. And I'm not wishing to stop it, but I'd like to have this deferred so we can actually discuss that first and then regularise the plaque and everything like that. Because there are certain. It says if you read the seat, John, it says in memorial or in memorial of. This one doesn't. So you've really got to look at your burial ground regulations and rejig them to see what you want to do. I have no objection to that, but I'm saying you can't put the cart before the horse. We should have discussed this last week, which is why the clerk put it on the agenda. We didn't get around to doing that. We've still got to revisit that in January. I'd like to do that, and then we'll follow up with the plaque and everything else associated with it. So I think we need to get in the right order.
Well, I'd like to propose...
Because we're responsible for what was in that burial ground.
I'd like
We need to get that sorted out.
that we accept this plaque.
Ian.
I moved it. Joe wanted to second it.
Yeah, right.
I did also want to say something as well. That we did have a meeting. It was a week or two ago. The burial ground committee, and Clive was invited to identify his concerns. And what we realised was that in the regulations it does say that individual memorials have to be, I think, specific to a person, but it doesn't actually say anything about benches. And we did say a couple of things. One is, I think at the time my understanding was that we agreed that this wording on the bench was acceptable, but we also did say that as a group, because we'd had such a lot of help from a lot of different people and a lot of groups and so on and so forth, that we thought it was right and proper and to acknowledge that help, that it actually made the burial ground feel that it actually belonged to the community when so many people were involved in it, and so many people saying how nice it looked and appreciative of what has happened. And so we felt that this new wording on the bench was actually quite acceptable. And similar things, a big item like the bench. It's not a personal item of
It's not
memorial.
particularly memorial.
It's
It's
for
a seat.
everyone to use.
It's a seat.
Yes. So that.
Anyway, we've got a proposal and a second that we accept this wording.
We've got two proposals.
Would I like to make an amendment to that?
We've got two proposals.
That we just accept the plaque.
Move the
We've
file.
got more to speak on this one, yeah.
Pardon?
We've got more to speak on this one, yeah. What's the proposal?
The proposal is that we accept donated by the Bloomsbury Brethren Christian Church. End of story.
Right, I would like to make an amendment.
What's the amendment?
I would like the amendment is that we accept the wording as presented,
Yeah.
subject to approval of the bench being cited in its current position by council. What I'm saying there is we have to approve the bench being put there because it never came to council for approval, which it has to. And then once that's been done, it will automatically follow with this wording.
Anybody second that?
Can I just make a thought?
Is there anybody second that? Anybody
No.
second that amendment?
No.
Right, so
What about real proposal?
Well, I was proposing that we rebuild
Chair,
the...
Clive, with respect.
Can I just finish it?
No,
Chair.
sorry, we are
Chair.
It's right, it's right.
Chair, stand on a point of order.
Yeah.
I think 3 or 4 times tonight I've asked you to stop Councillor St John talking over people.
No,
and
Councillor St
interrupting.
John,
Just
Councillor
let me
St
finish.
John, Councillor St John stood up and made a
You're
point.
doing it with me now. Listen,
No.
listen. I've asked 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
3 or 4 times she's done absolutely nothing at all. We've just got another example where he's talking over another councillor when he's trying to talk. You need to get a
Chair,
grip and take
Will you
charge
sit
of the
down?
meeting.
Sit down.
It's a point of order. Clive,
You see, you
I-
started now. He was speaking
It's-
first.
it's
will you
a point of
please,
order.
Chair, if he would let me finish. The fact is, I moved a motion and it was seconded.
Yes.
Clive then spoke. I hate to say this, under the rules of debate,
That's it.
everybody can speak once, and the mover can sum up.
Right. Does anybody want to speak? Everybody happy? So we'll take a vote on it. We'll vote all those in favour of this plaque.
Doing it the
Going
wrong
on the
way
chair.
around.
Please show.
Can I have a recorded vote, please, Chair?
Yeah. Of course you can.
I'm doing it the wrong way around.
There's other processes we should be following before we accept.
Following his own rules. Just pointing it out. We're approving things and then going
Because
back.
the technical side is every councillor who's now voted yes has just, in effect, gone against the rules we have.
Yeah. Right, Councillor Baker,
Against.
Councillor Beck,
Oh.
Councillor Bridges,
For.
Councillor Burton, Councillor Crowther, Councillor Dalton, Councillor Ireland, Councillor Jarvis,
Against.
Councillor Jepson,
Yeah.
Councillor O'Brien, Councillor St John,
For.
Councillor Thornton.
Against. We need to follow procedure. We're not
Right,
doing
that's
it.
carried. Right.
We're approving things we've not
Move on.
That's some rubbish, councillor.
I might say that this is about the plaque on the seat. If you want to decide where it goes, that's another item. You can put it on the agenda for another hearing. But at this stage, we're just saying, is that plaque suitable? And the answer is yes, it is.
Nobody's arguing.
If you want the chair moving, if you want to move the seat somewhere else,
No,
yeah,
I'm not
put it
about
on.
moving the
nobody's-
seats. I'm on
nobody's
about
arguing against
I'm on
the
about
plaque.
our rules and regulations that
Nobody's
we've
arguing
not
against the
followed.
plaque. It's that we haven't approved the bench in the first place, which every other bench has had to be approved.
Shall I move progress, Chair?
Right, the next item on the agenda is to discuss the letter from Lafarge Tarmac Trading Limited regarding Lindwick and Branscombe Forest. Now, we had this discussion a couple of years ago because one of the quarries has got a special, I know you've got something to say, it's got a special flora and fauna, there's butterflies or something, it's a special place. But they're offering to give us, or on offer to us, we've got to negotiate it if we want it, is, you've got the plans, you've got the pictures. It's right at the bottom of Lindwick Dale, across the bridge, and on the left-hand side, the quarry, and the woods right down to the railway line, and then right round the corner of the bend, Branchleaf Junction down to a big quarry which goes up towards the main railway line. That's plots 1, 2 and 3. Those are the things that do you want us to proceed with discussion? Is that correct?
Chairman, I'd like to speak on this.
Yeah.
We need to see this for what it is and not what it's purported to be by the vendor. The vendors obviously no longer have use for these quarries. They've sold all their other interests. Anything that was of any use to anyone has gone. What's left are their liabilities, for want of a better term. They, in my view, are asking the parish council to take on those liabilities.
Yep.
And from what I can see, I attended the meeting as did Councillor Thornton, Councillor Jepson and Councillor Dalton, I think it was about 3 weeks ago. The liabilities are quite considerable. There's a possible liability for an access track that serves 3 or 4 properties that would need possibly maintaining. There's a bridge over a river that would need either maintaining or checking structural reports on. We've then got the fact that one of the quarries is a triple SI, which means that nothing can be done with it. And again, there's certain liabilities that may be incurred there. The second quarry, Branchleaf quarry, that's been offered, it's not clear whether there's any access to that land at all. The agents weren't making it clear whether they retained any access rights to that. This, as far as I'm concerned, is a big company wanting us to take on their liability forevermore. And I personally can't see doing as due diligence on spending public money, which is what we would be doing if we took this on, not for a purchase but for ongoing maintenance. I can't see that we're going to gain anything by it. It's just going to be a big money pit. I would like to make a proposal that we write back to them saying, considering the liabilities that we're going to incur if we take this on, that we're not really interested. With the fact that the parish council already owns, I think, 120 acres of woodland and probably around 60 acres of grassland, it's not that we haven't got any land or any public amenities for people at village. We're not going to be gaining anything. We're going to be losing money, probably to the tune of around £10,000 a year. I think it's a non-starter myself. That's my view on it.
Yeah, take your point. The thing about it, Steve, is that until we've had a proper discussion with them, we don't know what's expected of them, because their letter doesn't say anything like that, anything of that. There's got to be some fors and against. I'd like to know what the against are, and I'd like to know what the fors are.
I've told you what the against
just
are.
tell me.
Yeah. I've just told you what the against are.
Yeah, but there's nothing in writing about that. I mean, what's to say that when you have a discussion, you say, we take it over, but
John,
there's no money from the Farge at all. They're not putting any money into it at all. That's what I said.
Chair, I couldn't attend the site visit, but I picked up that Steve was if you like, against it, which is perfect right. But I don't know how many years ago it is, but I walked, I must have been chair, I walked with Michael into this land and elsewhere. I think they eventually got, is it called Fanfield? They actually leased that to a farm.
6 years ago, by the way.
I think one of the reasons why they were offering it is because when Harry Cross Quarry was in operation, we met, I think, every 3 months, and our relationships with David Atkinson were extremely cordial. And even when residents from South Anston wanted to come to complain about the blasting, he was more than happy, A, to have them in the meetings, and secondly, invite them to the quarry to see what was going on. So I think the Farge, or whatever it's now called, has been very positive. I think a possible way forward would be to invite the agent to an informal private meeting with the council to talk about these points. You may well be right, Steve, but years ago, all right, Kiverton whatever it was, Rural District Council offered Anston Stones wood, and the Parish Council then took it. At a previous time, they offered what we call Lindrick Village Green, and we took it, or the Parish Council took it. This is land that the public would then have, if you like, if we accepted it, would have free right to walk through. And I think it's worth it. Somebody
to walk through it.
But well, the fact is that people, you know, people say get hold of land. They're not making it any longer, and I think it would be very short-sighted to simply decide now we're not interested. I take your points. I think it would be more beneficial to invite Lafarge to come to an informal meeting with the councillors, and we can try and thrash it out. Can I move? Sorry, John, I'm forgetting. Can I move that as a resolution that we invite, without any prejudice, we invite Lafarge?
Anybody second that?
I want to propose an amendment that we write to Lafarge or Savills saying that given the current situation where the liabilities are not known, we could not possibly proceed on that pretext.
We could not possibly proceed. Well, that just negates something. So that just negates some of the proposals.
Can I come in now? Yeah. Right. The first thing is this is just one big, massive money pit for the council if we take this on. The second thing is we've already had informal talks with Savills, who represent Lafarge. That was the idea of the site meeting, which only 4 people out of the council decided to turn up on. You had your opportunity then to ask questions, but if you wasn't there, that's not our fault. Can I just go on to a few more points of why it's going to be a money pit? If we take this on, we will be responsible for the track, for the whole length of from the bridge all the way down to the railway bridge. That track was relayed by Lafarge last spring, and it's already rutted. So immediately we took that over, we would have repair bills for the road. The second thing is, one of the locals do you insist on coughing?
Come on, Stuart.
My apologies, Stuart.
Right.
My wife is at home in bed.
You see, again, he's interrupted. He just stands up whenever he feels like it. Right. And now he's walking around the room. Is this anybody can do anything at this meeting, Chair, or are you going to chair the meeting?
He's trying to relieve his throat. That's quite
I think everybody's just seen for what it is. Right, let me carry on if I can. The track will already be as soon as we take it over, will be repaired. The gentleman who lives, I think it's Fanfield Farm, quite kindly let us know that that road is prone to flooding every year if the lake is not maintained, which then presents us with another problem. As Stephen quite rightly said, it's a triple SI site. But on that site at the moment, there's several hundreds, if not more, silver birch trees. Now what was said is, and I use the word what they said is, maybe, and the word is maybe, a grant from Natural England to remove the silver birch. So there's already some plan somewhere to remove the silver birch. Now, I'm suggesting that if there's no grant available, and we then own that triple SI site, we are going to be responsible for probably moving the silver birch, which is another cost. Carrying on from there, there's no legal document as far as we're aware that the people who live beyond the railway bridge, i.e. the people in the cottages or Fanfield Farm, there's no record if they are able to or have to by law contribute to the upkeep and maintenance of the track. And also, Savills were going to go away and have a look to see if there's any legal rights of way, i.e. who has a legal right of way down that track. This is a money pit waiting to happen. There's no legal issues solved. It's going to incur vast maintenance quantities, and all it is a quarry which you can't do nothing with.
That's it. Thank you. Take your point on that. The thing is that I can't make it, or I wouldn't like to make a decision without any more information.
But you could have come to the meeting and you didn't.
Well, I've never told information then in writing. No, do you know what we're... No, of course you haven't. You don't have that to do a proper discussion and get them to put a proposal. And that's what I would like them to do. And then I can say yes or no. Not just, we might have to do this, and they might not be able to do that, and they might have to do... It's all a matter of conjecture. Let's get them to put it in writing, have a meeting. I agree with Councillor St. John. get them together round the table, let's all of it up and let them put it right to what we make a decision. I can't make a decision on willy-nilly might be would be.
Can I just speak on this, Chair? I was at that meeting, and I mean, Stephen and Stuart both said the similar sort of things. I think if we take this on, we're also responsible for some fencing around the top of that quarry. We've got to make sure that that's maintained. So we're going to have to send staff down there on a regular basis to check all this out. We've got suggestions from the floor that we take all the duties on as a parish council during the winter and things like that. We're not having enough with 3 ground staff to do all that. They're going to be all over the place, and I can't see this. I mean, as much as I'd like to take you on board, I don't really see what benefit it's going to be to the parish council at the end of the day. I think, having been at the budget meetings, I don't think we've got any money that we can apply to this anywhere over the next year, and certainly next couple of years, because things are only going to get worse. So, I'm not in favour of taking their offer up, and I support Stephen's suggestion, and I'll second that.
Yeah, Chair, I'm sorry my colleagues take such a dim view of this opportunity.
It's not an opportunity.
Well, you know, this is the 2 pieces of land which could be an asset to Anston Parish Council should they choose to go forward with it. And I think it's really important to go that step further, and the letter suggests that it would be exploring the further possibility. Explore further the possibility of transferring the land. Therefore, a meeting with Savills does not commit us to any purchase. It does enable us to answer the questions and the notions that have been put forward are quite correct in terms of some of the liabilities that come along with this opportunity. But there are also other opportunities that we could take, possibly, to finance these things. So,
would you care to elaborate on that, Councillor Dalton?
In what way?
As to what these other opportunities of funding are?
Well, there's lots of, I mean, we've already talked about National England possibly funding the removal of the silver birch trees, and it is possible that other people might be interested in coming together to make this work. I don't know what they are at the moment, Stephen, but if you go in with a closed face, you will never know. If you go in with an open opportunity, look at it as an opportunity and at least explore the issues. Well, I see it differently from you.
Dominic?
Yeah, Chair. I don't think there's any harm in having a discussion with them. It's obviously not an insignificant discussion that we need to have. They've taken the time to contact us. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make the site visit. It appears others weren't either. I would move that we go to the vote and that we either bring them in or we don't, however the vote goes. We are under the rules of debate.
Can I just go through the chair? Can I just go through the chair and ask Councillor Dalton how much she would imagine that this is going to cost us over the period of, say, 3 years?
I don't think that's the issue, Stuart. The thing is, it's not going to cost us anything to talk to them. And there's a motion on the floor. That means you've got 1 chance to speak for 3 minutes, so you've had yours. Anybody
no
else?
idea of money. How can you?
Anybody?
How can you
Make one more comment.
Yeah,
It's to do with what's in the letter. It's before.
It says completion of restoration in this letter. Well, they've not done any restoration at all at either side. So that is one thing that we, if we're going to have a meeting with them, need
That's
to
what. That's Steve. Those are the things I've written down in paper, so I can make a judgment. Just willing. We've all got different ideas. Everybody's got different ideas, and I want to know what they want to us expect of us, and then I can say no, I don't agree with it, or yes, I do.
But we already know because we attended the meeting.
Sorry, will you allow me to sum up?
Yeah, yes.
Right. I mean, I understand that Steve and Stuart and Clive are against it. That's fine. But I do think it'll be worthwhile sitting around a table talking to them.
All those in favour of the motion?
So, Chair, can you read out the motion again?
We just asked a formal discussion with
Read it out loud because I can't hear what that says.
We can't hear.
Invite Savills Stroke Farmers to an informal discussion.
Right.
Right.
can I have a recorded vote as well?
Yes, you can. Oh. So that's it. You invite them to an informal discussion, so we know what we're talking about. Because I haven't got a clue with. I mean, I've listened to 6 different.
I'll second that.
It's already a second.
Is it?
How are we defining informal discussion? Are we having a talk here?
Yeah, here. Here.
You know, we've already had discussions with the
Yeah, well, you're going to get it, have it minutes and have it down on paper.
A minuted
discussion, yes. Oh, that's all right then.
Well, I think,
I think
if we haven't got a discussion with the father
Chair, point of order. We've had the debate. We're now going to the vote.
All those in favour?
Councillor Baker.
Are we saying it's going to be a minuted?
No, we're saying it's invite Savills and the Parish to an informal discussion.
I'm against.
Beck. Bridges.
Abstain.
Burton.
4.
Crowther.
4.
Dalton.
4.
Ireland.
4.
Jarvis.
Abstain.
Jepson.
Against.
O'Brien.
4.
St John.
4.
Thornton.
Against.
That's carried out. That's what we'll do. We'll have a meeting with them.
The point that was being made was we've already had the informal discussion. If people can't be bothered to turn up, it's not happening.
It would be interesting to find out what they do with the random.
To receive an email on behalf of
We need to make sure lots of people
Skate 25.
Can we receive this? It's a thanks, isn't it?
Yeah. Apparently, Lafarge are waiting for legal advice, so we can't have a meeting until they've got their legal advice. They come.
We received 9-4 with thanks, Chair.
Yeah, both seconded?
Yeah.
To discuss an email from RMBC regarding sandbags. Following a review of the sandbags that were distributed to parish councils, it has been decided to contact parish councils who did not want the sandbags at the time to see if they would find it useful to have local supplies of sandbags in case of any further localised flooding incidents. Right. Who's frightened about being flooded living in Southampton?
I'm not particularly Chair, Michael, did we have any sandbags last time?
No.
I move that we don't apply, we don't get sandbags.
We'll flood it down bottom of Sykes Road this year. It's not sorted.
I think they're worried about flooding into houses, and the only thing that we've got is the drains. If the drains are cleaned out, it should flood. It should be taken away. And they've increased their machines for sucking out drains to 2. And that's what I was told by the steward.
I'm looking at Mr. Pearson when I'm talking now. What this letter is doing is they're asking us, nothing wrong, you'll find out why I'm looking at it. Again, we have RMBC are asking us to store pallets of 50 sandbags. They don't say how many pallets. They give us the dimensions, it's 1.5 by 1.5 by 1.5. It tells us they're going to be on pallets, they've got to be off the ground for storage, they have to be secure, the sandbags have to be weatherproof, sandbag pallets must not be stacked on top of each other, for safety reasons. Sandbags are heavy and will require a person to be able to lift sandbags in the correct manner, etc., etc. RMBC are asking us to store equipment on their behalf, and yet again,
Stuart, you're missing one out. What they're saying, they are very heavy and care must be taken when distributing them.
That's another point. Well, they're offering absolutely no help whatsoever on how we store them, where we store them, how we distribute them. And as somebody who's got vast experience of sandbags, it's not just a case of handing sandbags out. It has to be done on a planned programme with the correct people and the correct training. We haven't got the place, the time, or the money to accept sandbags. It's just not.
Yeah, Chair, can I just go back to you there?
No,
can we have empty sandbags when they can put them themselves?
We've got a phone,
Chair, I quite agree with Councillor Thornton. We haven't been any in the past. We've not taken the council from...
This year down Sykes Road, I've just told you we're flooded.
Let me reiterate that. The council has not purchased any sandbags in the past. I don't think we need to in the future. This isn't a initiative by the council to say that we should do it and the borough won't. They're merely trying to be helpful and saying, do you want any sandbags? I don't think we should. That's why I'm moving that we shouldn't have them.
Right. Can I remind the public that this is not open discussion, it's a decision of the council. No, we're not going to, we don't want to hear you talking at this stage.
You don't want to wear any flags, do you?
No, not at all. Right, we've got a proposal here that we don't accept this offer.
Can I just make a point?
Anybody second that? Anybody second that?
Something?
Yes.
I just want to, I've had my hand up actually, but other people just shout in. I'm just going along really with, up to a point with what Dominic says. I mean, I think in the past, when there have been floods, there have been lots of parishes and areas that have said, we could have done with sandbags. You know, why didn't you let us have any sandbags? Why were there no sandbags distributed? So I think this is an effort to try and be a little bit, to think ahead and just make the offer, that's all. But if we haven't got use for them and we haven't got any place to store them, then it's perhaps not a very useful offer.
Can I just make a comment? Yeah. Mr. Pearson made the suggestion earlier on what the parish council are doing about stuff like this. Well, I think at least we should think about, if we don't have sandbags from the borough council, we should maybe have empty sandbags and some stand available somewhere that we can actually fill up if we need them. So we've got some sort of...
I think that's more practical.
Well, yeah, but this is what I'm saying. I think it's more practical. We don't need filled sandbags all the time. Actually, if we bought some empty ones or we purchased some, and we had some sand that we could access easily, we could fill them as and when if we ever needed them. But to not have anything at all, or even a sort of like something on standby that we can use. I mean, it might be that we have 50 empty sandbags somewhere, and if there's something happens, or we can either store the sand separately. I don't know. You don't have to have sand in sandbags. You can actually put sand into the sandbags, and they don't take as much space. And I think it's something that we should explore, because who knows if we've got a bit of localised flooding, if we've got 50 sandbags, they make them very handy. So it's not actually having them on pallets, it's having the wherewithal to actually create them ourselves and then put it to use. So I think it's something that we should... I don't agree with I agree not to take that up on the borough, because I think it creates more problems, but I think we should look at an option whereby we can make it out. Yeah, I'm proposing that we look at that as a bit of emergency planning.
That we get to
maybe it's time we answer.
And purchase sand if necessary.
I second that.
Right, with the proposal and second for that. So
I'll withdraw mine.
I'd like to speak.
John? Sorry, what was being proposed exactly?
Proposed is that we actually just purchase 50 empty sand. Superborough give them as for a start. Empty sandbags.
It raises a question really. It's like, you know, sometimes in a parish council we don't think this through. If we just get empty sandbags, first of all, how many times have there been flooding issues in Anston? Now, the audience have said Sykes Road. I don't know if that's unique. Years ago there were problems on High Street, but that was because they were developing the allotment gardens above it. If we have empty sandbags, somebody needs sandbags, where are we going to get the sand from? And does it fall to us to get them filled and pay for the sand? So really, I think, if I would suggest, Clive, that we defer this item and you actually come up with something more long-term, if you like, that will work.
Stuart.
Well, I'm going to make myself very unpopular, especially with Clive. As somebody who's got vast experience, I've just said about sandbags, I've filled thousands and thousands of sandbags, and I assure you, 50 sandbags won't do nothing for any flooding. You would need probably 5 to 10 for you just said for a house in front of the door. You need 5 to 10. It's not a case of just throwing sandbags down. You have to pack them in.
Yeah, like a bricklayer.
If you get the sand, you've got the problem again of where you're going to store it. It has to be stored in an area that's dry, because if you store it just outside the rain, it washes away. And it's intensive in manpower to fill sandbags, let alone having a team to move them and then a team to place them. I can see what Clive's saying. maybe we should explore it, but I believe it's just totally unpractical.
George, if your house is getting flooded, believe me, you'll still lights.
But the point I'm making is it's not a bad idea, but the thing is,
you know how to do it, you don't.
it's impractical for a council of our size. Who's going to fill the sandbanks?
Yes, I mean,
I've got a second for this that we...
you know, we don't employ 100 people.
No, you don't. People downstairs
We're not
all it is just trying to think a bit forward, that's all.
We're not taking on
we obviously have
the sandbags, 50 sandbags, all packed. We're not taking that on, that's what the motion is about. All those in favour of that, please show. We're not going to take the 50 pallets of sandbags.
It's not 50 pallets.
Well, 50 pallets, 50 on a pallet.
Sorry, Chair, I missed the proposal. I do apologise.
Well, that's what we said. We're rejecting this letter and saying no, we don't want it. We don't want the packed in pallets and this. We're not going to accept that. With all health and safety things like that, dropping on people. Yeah, that's it.
So I'll second that.
So the proposal second that we just ignore this letter. We just say thank you very much, but no thanks.
Right.
All those in favour? Right. An email from Workshop Against Incineration. What can we do with this? Chair.
Can I speak after Councillor Thornton? Yes. John?
Yes.
They can speak first.
No, Stuart, come on.
Right. My point on this, I read this through, and I do agree with quite a lot of it. But my indication on this one is, it doesn't look as though there's actually any planning application being forwarded on an official basis. I would suggest that we possibly could write back and say, well, we agree with some points, we can't really make any decisions until we see the planning application, and then we would make a decision on the planning application.
Stuart, that's precisely what I said to the chap when he phoned me up. I said it will come up to the council and they will make the decision about how to operate, but you haven't got any plan commission yet. That's how it stood with me.
Chair, it's normal practice between adjoining authorities that if there is a major change proposed within your county or borough or whatever it is, county council, you would normally tell your planning officers nearby what's going on. So I think that the point's well made. Secondly, yes, there have been historical concerns about waste incineration, and I'm thinking of Bernard Road in Sheffield, just off to the right of the Parkway, which was going when I was on the county council in the early 80s. It is still going. The fact is that a lot of people will object to waste incineration through fear of the unknown. Now, I would trust officers of whichever authority to use their common sense, and if they are allowing almost anything like PCBs, these plastics that are quite revolting, then there is something wrong with the whole system. But if they are burning clean waste, and I remind you that we had an application to have a combined heat and power plant in Criverton Station, very roughly. Now that business went bust, but that planning application is still there and it could be reactivated. So I'm not totally in favour of it, but I think we need to calm down, wait till the application comes in before we make any comment. Final point, if you remember your geography from school, the prevailing wind in this country is from the west off the Atlantic, and therefore the poor devils downstream towards Worksop and the A1 are going to enjoy it far more than we're likely to.
Can I just point out quickly, there was an incineration plant down at Worksop before that burnt down and caused a lot of problems, so we won't say no more on that one. If I've read this rightly, there's already, and I'm not 100% sure if I'm saying what's true at the moment, there's already plans in place, or going to be plans in place, for an incinerator on Claylands Lane, I think it is. And I think this is a separate application in Shire Oaks.
Yeah.
So just to point out there that we could have potentially two waste burning incinerators in very, very close proximity. And it could affect us.
It's not actually correct. Claylands is a transfer station for taking, you know, the stuff you put in your blue bins, your newspapers and that. That's purely a transfer station, taking it from workshop there and then being transferred to Mansfield. The one on the workshop site is that, you know, the planning's not gone in. I think somebody's got hold of an idea. I've actually spoke to the planners in Nottingham. There's no application, there's no nothing, and you know, it's not going anywhere at all at this point in time. This one.
So the one, the other workshop was only the incinerator and somebody set it away.
But
well, it was a waste transfer station.
That caught fire?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't an
that's the
incinerator.
site that they're referring to here. And there were always plans to return this into refuse to because currently what happens is you export and it gets burnt abroad. So burn it on site, you can do it, but it's a long, long way off anything coming to fruition on that.
Sure.
Chair,
what Mr Wilde asks is that we support the opposition to these plans, which I get a sense that we don't feel we're ready to do that, but he does also offer to send a speaker to our parish council, and I for one think that'd be helpful. If we could have somebody come and just do, you know, 10-minute or 5-minute slot at the beginning, like some of the others. So that's what I'd like to propose, is that we write back and invite them to come along, give us a little bit more detail, and then we can take a decision at that time as to whether or not we wish to.
This is from the chairman of the Workshop Against Incineration.
Yeah.
Which is a non-political.
So that I'd like to propose that.
Just I'll put one in, Judy. I am aware this guy's wasted a lot of time, trouble and effort so far for something that is a bit pie in the sky and no facts behind it now. Fine if we want to sit down and have that meeting.
You know, we can ask them to come and speak for 5 minutes on it. I
Sure.
think it just gives us a little bit more information, and it also gives them a sense of support, even though we're not actually taking a decision.
Could I move an amendment that the letter goes, invite them to speak, but that they come to us once a planning application has been made, so that we're dealing with something substantial.
I'll accept that, Chair.
Could I second that?
We've only got one motion,
one
which is to write back and say that no decision can be made until the planning application has been submitted. And then the second motion, following on from that, invite them to come and speak
At that point.
So you can put the two together.
I'm happy to put them
Put
together.
them together. All those in favour, please show. Next one to discuss a letter regarding sponsorship. And this is, I don't think we've sponsored individuals, have we? We don't do that, do we?
So we have sponsored some money from school somewhere this year.
Yeah, Victoria Greenwell. She lived in Anston for 15 years. She's going to the charity arm of the Rotherham United Football Club, and they're trying to raise money for a trip to
Kenya.
Kenya.
Chair. We have done it before. We don't get them very often. You know, I think we do a good job of supporting the community groups we've got in Anston. I'd be quite happy to move that we grant £100 to the to Victoria.
It would have to be to the club.
Yes,
Yeah.
to the
We had to do that before to the school.
Yeah, absolutely. To the organisers.
To the
Dominic, I can't hear you, or Clive. We can't give it to an individual.
To the Rotherham United Community
All right,
Sports.
yeah, okay.
That's where we're sending it.
Yeah, fine.
Right, can I come in? The first thing is, I've written on my notes when I've read this through, is yes, the lady, I don't know the lady, but she obviously lives in Northampton. She's lived here for a number of years. My first question is, what benefit is this to Anston? Now,
Sponsorship.
I don't think any benefit to Anston.
well, that's what I'm saying is, but when we give grants out, normally we'd expect, if we're giving money out to people, we should have some form of benefit in return, be it big or small. If we're giving money to the Rotherham United Football Club, which I think has been proposed, we do have, and I think it's an unwritten procedure or policy, that if an organisation is here in Anston, we give £100, and if it's outside, it's £50.
Yeah.
Could I make an amendment to the £100 to bring it down to £50?
And it's to the Rotherham United Community Sports Trust.
And I think it should be down to £50.
I might be inclined to agree with that. I think our standing orders, Michael, don't they say that it is benefit to one or more individuals in the parish.
Some or all. Some or all.
I think that's enough. I mean, damn it, years ago we were sending lorry loads of supplies to former Yugoslavia. You know, we put our mouths, if you like, where our hearts are as well. So I think £50 is very reasonable.
Two things, Chair.
Yes, Julie.
One is that they're offering sponsorship, so you know, Anston Parish Council logo will be on the T-shirt, which is that's great. The other thing is just to let you know that Rotherham United Community Sports Trust has done several pieces of work in Anston. It did a piece of work at Woodland Drive over a 6-week period. I know that they're doing some work at Anston Hillcrest School, and I know that currently they're doing quite a lot of work on the social prescribing scheme at Ballycroft Dinnington, which takes people from our area. So I'm just saying that, you know, there is actually the Sports Trust are putting into Anston as well as you know, hopefully accepting sponsorship.
Yeah. Right, can we decision on this? How much?
Let me just interrupt that. Sorry. I was trying to make an amendment to £50 instead of 100. I will withdraw the amendment. And can I make another amendment that if we are of the mind to give £100, it's subject to the proviso that we have a publicity picture from the parish council, i.e. we stood there with a cheque presenting it to this lady to be put in some form of magazine.
It would just make the point I think it's probably valid. She does actually say assisting teachers in the local primary school. So she probably means the Hillcrest or something, which means...
No, she means in Kenya.
Can I just add one to that? Might have an Anston in Nairobi. Can I just make one thing?
Jodie has taken it on.
Could we ask when she comes back if she actually comes and gives us a presentation of the work that she's done? I think she brings some slides, photographs. I think that would be pretty good as well. So at least we can see what, and then if we can get a bigger Anston logo on as possible, that would be like the full back of the church shirt.
Right, we'll do that. Right, it's 9:30. Somebody's got to move that we suspend sending on.
Chair, I would like to move again that we dispense with standing orders. I did try to make the effort to bring items forward. Some of the items we've got on this agenda go way back to September, and I think we as councillors have a duty to members of the public to sit down, discuss and get through business. This cutting off at 9:30 every time we have a full council meeting is doing nobody good. It's making all our work back up, and it's disappointing the public because they can't hear things that are being discussed. I move that we suspend standing orders.
Can I just add to that? I agree with Councillor Thompson on that regard, but there are some items on there that are, I mean, there are a lot under my name that have been on since October.
That's right.
We're not going to get through them tonight, and we're not going to get the sort of time session that they deserve to be properly discussed. So unless we do want to do the last one on Christmas lights, unless everybody wants to go, then all the others that are under my name, I'll defer them to the next meeting, but I'd like them
put it at the beginning.
Put it at the beginning agenda, please, so we can get through them.
We vote, Chair.
We're not going to have time to discuss them
suspend
properly
to deal
tonight.
with the letter about Christmas lights and then close the meeting.
No. Move that we close the meeting, Chair.
And we're doing it just to protect Councillor Dalton again.
Everybody.
Yeah, I did say if we could be succinct and to the point, we'd have done it ages ago.
Any second on that?
Not on
But to finish it now.
Yes.
Right, we've got a proposal that we finish out. We've got a proposal first of all, I didn't hear seconds to it, that would continue. All right, well,
I would, but just to finish that one item up.
Yeah, well,
that's
right. So the amendment is that we actually finish now.
Right, no, the proposal is...
The amendment refers to it.
Just listen to me. The proposal is that we suspend standing orders.
Yeah.
The proposal that we don't do it negates it, which you've done tonight already, you've negated an issue. So we vote on whether we're going to suspend standing orders or not. And I'll have a recorded vote, please.
Right.
You can't negate the proposal.
Mr. Chairman, extend it. I mean, Councillor Dalton advised Councillor Beck to extend it to fetch policing.
You wouldn't need to do this if you'd all shut up. Come on.
So the motion is to suspend standing orders.
Is it to hear this one item?
Yeah, to hear
Yes,
this,
about
to hear
Christmas
this one
lights.
item.
Just hear the one
Yes.
item.
Yeah.
There are too many others to discuss properly at length.
Right, and we're going to put Clive's others at the beginning as we can. So that's the proposal.
Give him a chance to write it.
So
We just suspend
the motion is to suspend standing orders in order to hear the Christmas light item
and then close.
and then close.
Right. All those in favour, please show.
I ask for a recorded vote now.
Well, if you can have it recorded, if you wish to. Yes.
Councillor Bacon.
For.
Councillor Beck.
Against.
Councillor Bridges.
For.
Councillor Brindley. Not here. Councillor Burton. Councillor Crowther.
For.
Councillor Bolton.
Against.
Councillor Ireland.
For.
Councillor Jarvis.
Against.
Councillor Jepson.
For.
Councillor O'Brien.
For.
Councillor St John.
Against.
Councillor Thornton.
For.
So we carry on.
Can I just speak on this, Mr. Chair?
A letter from, well, yeah, there is about the Christmas lights from Stu Wells.
He doesn't live in Anston.
John,
He lives across from you now, in
he does, well, he
Billington.
might have, but he lived in Anston when I
Oh,
think
Tim Wells, has he moved from Ashley Crescent?
Yeah, he lives,
I haven't seen him yet. But it's a
It's
pertinent,
unexpected where it
it's a
lives.
pertinent question anyway, because this is reasonably verified by Mrs. Warland and various other people.
Yeah.
To try and cut it short, I went to the Dinnington Town Council meeting when they raised this, and what they've done, they've had discussions with Blashere, they're now providing for Borough and also Maltby. And I've got a contact of the guy that deals with them, and what I'm quite prepared to do if anybody else wants to join in, is have a meeting with this guy from Blashere. He lives in Rotherham, so he's got no problem turning up. I've got some of the figures as well for Dinnington. I mean, probably most people have seen them. There are 18, and what they do is it's an adapter that's fitted to the lighting column that saves you don't actually tap into the mains. It fits somehow on the head of the pole. And these prices are given obviously pertinent to Dinnington, but it's something that I think we need to look at. So I say if anybody wants to sort of make up a group, see what we can do with the north and south Anston and try and forget it.
No mention of Christmas lights, it just talks about the Christmas tree.
Well, they may be able to supply, I think Dinnington Town Council bought the tree, and I'm not sure, I think they've done the wiring to it and the lights. So.
Can I say, to begin with, Dinnington decided to not fund fireworks, and this was to replace the fireworks. And I think the first thing we need to think about is which, if we can't afford both, which is going to be the priority.
Yeah.
I despair sometimes that we have discussed this for 2 or more years, and we have never, ever come up with a concrete, costed solution. And I vote, thank Tim for his email, but the answer at present is no.
Well, that's what I'm offering to do. It's not going to cost the council anything to talk about. Ian, just let me do it. It's a negative.
What, buy land?
Yeah, land that's going to cost us money is negative.
Julie,
Thank you, Chair. I love the style of Christmas tree. I think it should be part of the budget consultation, and that people should be able to recognise that we can have one thing or the other, possibly the bonfire night, or possibly Christmas decorations, or possibly some other thing. Obviously it costs money. It would be brilliant if we've got enough money to have a Christmas tree and all the other things. So, you know, I'm for having a Christmas tree, but it's got to be part of the budget process.
Yeah, I mean, this comes up every year, and every year we look silly as a council because we can't get a grip of a simple thing like putting Christmas tree lights on the agenda. Can I just read out the last paragraph? The Christmas tree will light up the community during the darkest days of the year, benefiting the whole of the community for a month. Compared to Anston Day and the fireworks display, it will be better value for money and reach out far more of the community. Well, just going to the fireworks, I think the fireworks are a good thing and should be kept.
Yeah.
Anston Day cost us £2,000, and I think that only lasts for about an afternoon. And I think we'd be better spending the £2,000 on lights and a possible Christmas tree, which would last for a month, rather than Anston Day, which lasts for half a
We're
day.
having the tree given us.
But-
All we've got to do is the cost of lighting it.
When we do the budget meeting,
Yeah.
when we do the budget meeting, I will push that we remove the money for Anston Day and put them into Christmas tree lights in future. It
Right.
benefits more of the community.
Okay. Right. I might add that we need about 6 months to decide where we're going to put the tree. People know that's all.
We'll stick the chair of the parish council on top.
Yeah. Right, so Clive's going to get some information for us. Thank you very much, folks. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.